Welcome to Inspire Campfire, a podcast where ordinary people tell their stories of extraordinary adventure. These are campfire stories meant to inspire the rest of us to light the fire within, get outside, follow our dreams, and return to tell our own stories. Ready? Let's strike the match.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Scott Wurzbacher, and today's story is a reminder that you never know where you'll find inspiration. Last summer, my family and I spent some time exploring California, including the parks and the giant trees of the Sierras. As we were driving through the valley of Kings Canyon National Park, we found ourselves following an intriguing purple school bus with an Instagram handle painted on the back that said, @skoolie mission adventure. I was super intrigued. So we followed it into a parking lot and waited to see who was going to come out. And inspiration came next. Today's guest is Sandra Lanfranco, an adventurer from a region of Germany called Saarland. She currently lives in Germany near the French border and has just returned from a 6-month trip around the United States that she made with her friend Sebastian and her dog Lenox. They traveled in her skoolie, a school bus which she converted into an RV and had shipped to the United States so she could take this journey. Sandra's always lived the life of an adventure. She worked professionally in the insurance industry until 2016, when she experienced an accident and suffered a spinal cord injury that put her in a wheelchair. But that accident has not stopped her. Prepare to be inspired by this incredible human who's here with us today from Germany to share her story and the story of skoolie mission adventure. Sandra, welcome to the campfire.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like, we just were so intrigued. I had my whole family in the car and we're driving along and all of a sudden we see this purple school bus. I wonder what that is. And I remember you probably thought we were tailgating. I was trying to see what the Instagram handle said.
Well, actually, I thought you were waiting for us because you want to complain about how we parked in the parking lot, because actually there was no space for this big 38-foot long school bus.
Oh yeah, no way. No, we were super intrigued, just super excited. And we pulled into the parking lot and you opened the doors, and then we discovered you had this very cool lift. And, out you come on your wheelchair with the lift, and you come down and you've got Lenox with you. And man, I mean, I'm not normally one to just walk up to strangers and start up a conversation, but, what you were traveling in and the circumstances was just, it was super intriguing to me. So I'm just so glad that we had a chance to meet, and I'm super excited to share your story. So if we could just get started, let's just go straight to, what is skoolie mission adventure?
Well, the skoolie stands for my school bus, my converted school bus, and my mission adventure. I started, for my freedom to travel. I wanted to travel again, and so I started this project, and I finally wanted to go to explore new places and find new adventures.
The freedom to travel again.
Yeah.
And so you've got an awesome Instagram page, skoolie mission adventure, and it's got some incredible pictures of this trip that we're getting ready to talk about here. So you have this school bus that you bought in Europe, in Germany.
In Germany, yeah, right.
Yeah. So tell us about that project.
Well, in the beginning, it was just, I was looking just for an RV that could fit for my needs. But the German RVs have not enough space, and most of them have steps in it. And somehow I came up with a school bus, and I found one not far away from me.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you bought the school bus and you converted it there in Germany.
Right. Yeah.
And you were explaining that you had it shipped over to the United States for this epic journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you give us an overview? And maybe we'll come back to the school bus as well, because actually I shared with you when we were talking earlier, our podcast producer, Ryan, is actually in the process of converting a school bus right now. So we'll have another episode with Ryan where he talks all about the process of converting a school bus. And I'm sure you guys will probably have to connect at some point. He'll want to get some tips from you. But let's talk about the trip itself. So you shipped the bus over to the United States. Tell us about the trip that you were planning.
So we planned to do this trip for 6 months in total. Yeah, just exploring the States, and we don't want to go to big cities or something like this. We just wanted to go to national parks, because the States have a lot of them and they are amazing. And so this was the goal, to see as much as possible.
Where did you pick up the bus?
We picked it up in Baltimore. Yeah.
Okay.
It was delayed. We had to wait for the bus because of COVID, and a lot of things. It was delayed. We had to wait 1 week, and we had to stay in a hotel and wait for the bus. But after that, then we went to. First of all, we went to Florida. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we passed all the states: Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, then Florida. Then we went up again to Alabama, Nashville, Kentucky, Ohio. Then we went to the Niagara Falls, so on the Canadian side.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, then back again to the States, just to visit some family. And and then we went back to the Canadian side. So we traveled Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, and then back to Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah. All over, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a big trip.
What were some of the highlights for you? What were some of the favorite places that you went?
The favorite places were Oregon, Washington. I never heard something about the places there, like Olympic National Park or the Mount Rainier. Was very special. That's a beautiful place. I know I never heard about this place, and it was.
It's a stunning mountain. Yeah, I've been there. I actually just had a guest on recently that climbed it and summited. I love the Pacific Northwest. What is it about that region for you that's so special?
That's a good question. It's the mountains and also the ocean, not far away, and everything together. It's so special. It's so different to Europe. I guess it's that.
Yeah. It's vast, right?
Yeah.
So vast. So I'm curious, like you mentioned, like this trip, you kind of wanted to avoid cities. You wanted to just see more of the natural beauty of the U.S. I'm just wondering, what is it about sort of staying in nature and avoiding cities for you that's appealing?
The cities are too much people, too much noise, and I like it when it's quiet, and when you come back to the roots. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I mean the quiet, the peace. I mean that's like I feel that too. I mean I absolutely do. I love the natural vacations. I do love a good city occasionally. I like to mix it up, but
and especially since I'm in a wheelchair, I don't like cities anymore, because you will be overseeing people Yeah, in Europe it's different than in the States. In the States it's much better and easier, but in Europe it's very difficult to go around with a wheelchair.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about a little bit of that. So we talked about the Pacific Northwest. What were 2 or 3 of your other favorite things that you did on the trip?
Let's see, there are so many. the Rocky Mountains, also the Canadian Rockies were stunning. That was the most beautiful place I've ever seen for me.
I agree with you. The British Canadian Rockies are unbelievable. Was there like a specific place that you remember in the Canadian Rockies?
Well, actually, it was Banff and Jasper National Park. Yeah. Because we saw so many wildlife and bears with their cubs, and the colors of the seas and the mountains and the snow and the glacier. Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Scott here. This podcast is a passion project for me because I absolutely love adventure. And it's thanks to the effort of my residential real estate team here in Charlotte, North Carolina, that many of you know as the W Realty Group, that this podcast gets funded. This awesome group of people have unmatched levels of competence and caring for our clients. If you know of anyone looking to buy or sell a home, our team serves the Charlotte, North Carolina market, but we can also help you find an agent anywhere throughout the US or Canada through our highly connected network. When you support our real estate business, you are also supporting this podcast. Thanks for listening, and thanks for your referrals. Yeah, and I have to point out for listeners, because after we met in the parking lot at Kings Canyon, we all went down a trail basically that went down to the river and across. Like, you have a very cool chair that can you tell us about that chair? Because I think also for people like, imagining you going into these national parks, like you're not really restricted. Like you're really able to get around with that chair.
Yeah. So many people ask me about this chair. Actually, it's a Segway. Everybody knows the Segway where you can stand on, and it's a Segway where you can sit on. So it works like a normal Segway. If you lean forward, you drive forward. If you lean backwards, you drive backwards. So, and it helps me to get around on even not wheelchair accessible trails. So the most of the trails are not wheelchair accessible, but I decide for myself if it's accessible or not. So
I love it. Well, and I've seen the pictures that you've posted on Instagram, and you're not afraid to get up on the trail.
No. No, I'm not afraid.
Yeah. Okay. So Oregon, Washington, I'm definitely getting, in Rocky Mountain, I'm definitely getting a mountain vibe. Any other highlights you want to point out from the trip?
Crater Lake was also awesome. Yeah. This deep blue water. I've never seen this before. And it's fascinating. Yeah.
Sandra, you just said it's awesome. And one of the words that we love to talk about on this podcast is the word awe.
Yeah.
And if you look it up in the Oxford Language Dictionary, it's defined as a reverential respect mixed with fear and wonder. And I'm curious, because you just said awesome. I'm imagining that you had many awe experiences when you were out on that trip.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that feeling?
Yeah, sure. I had it especially in the Yellowstone National Park, because that's amazing. It's one of the most known national parks, I would say, in Europe. But I didn't expect what I saw. I had no expectations, but I would have never expected that what I saw, what I found. So I don't know how to explain. I noticed that we are so meaningless in this world, in this nature wonders, and I don't know how, I don't find the right words to describe that.
Yeah, it's okay, but I love that you said that you it was unexpected what you
Yeah.
saw, and then you kind of felt like the meaningless. My sense is it's more of a smallness of being in nature. But what did you see in Yellowstone that made you have that feeling?
I've never seen geysers and hot springs, these colors and these amount of all these. That was amazing. It's a huge area. So and we are so small. And
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. And the hot springs or the geyser don't don't care if we are there or not.
they don't. They just go off, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the wonder piece of awe. It's just a wonder and amazement of all of this beauty and all this, uh, natural, all these natural mechanics, like you said, the geyser.
Yeah.
Was there any fear that played into that feeling of awe for you?
Yeah, when I drove with my Segway, the boardwalk, there's a huge boardwalk, and I was really fast because there was nobody there, and it was in the late afternoon, and everybody went to one of the geyser, um, and I came around a corner, and there was a huge bison in front of me, just 2 meters in front of
Oh my
me.
gosh.
Yeah, and ooh,
I bet
I
you
yeah
startled him
backed
with,
up.
you probably startled him as much as he startled you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We looked at each other, and I backed up, and he looked what I'm doing, and then he turned around and left. But it was
Oh my, a little bit
yeah,
of fear there. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I remember most about Yellowstone was just the abundance of wildlife
yeah,
there. Of all the national parks I've been to, I think we saw more animals there than
yeah,
any other place. It's pretty incredible.
yeah. We saw a lot of wapiti elks, and yeah, there were
Yeah,
yeah a lot of them.
yeah, yeah. So 6 months on the road, and I'm just curious. I mean, you've lived a whole life of adventure, but this trip in particular, this 6 months, like, how do you feel? Did you experience any sort of change? Did you come back a different person, and if so, how?
um, yeah, I have to do it again. That's what I think. I have to do it again. I don't know if the next trip will be in the States. I don't think so, but I have to explore more and to go for more adventures. I don't want to go back into my daily routine. And yeah, that's what I learned. I in the beginning I thought maybe I will miss my home and my friends and my family, but really I was yeah, it was okay for me. We talked on the phone or yeah, something like this with my friends and my family, but I was happy to be yeah there and to go for adventures.
Yeah. You have a heart of that desires freedom and exploration and adventure.
Yeah,
And
I do.
it's so cool that you followed that desire. And one thing that we were talking about as it relates to the school bus, when we spoke the other day, you had mentioned that part of the reason why you came to the U.S. was that you guys had some connections here that kind of made you feel safer in the event that the bus needed some work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because we thought when something happens with the bus, there are enough people, and yeah, they can help us.
Yeah,
And
so
we had
more so than back home.
yeah, it's practical to be in the States when something happens. Yeah.
Yeah. But now you've done 6 months, so now you're kind of ready to explore some other regions,
Right,
maybe do some regions
right,
in Europe
right.
too. Yeah.
And we had some issues with the bus, and yeah, it's everything should be solved now. The bus should be in a
Yeah.
good condition now. To,
Yeah. So you have this heart for freedom and for adventure. But the thing is, you've always had that.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you could tell us, and you know, we're going to get into the accident that you had in 2016 and kind of the process that happened before that. Before we do that, can we talk a little bit about Sandra before the accident and the adventure spirit that you had before?
Well, actually, I had a really normal life. I was working for an insurance company, so very serious. But during my free time, I like to ride motorcycles or everything with speed and
Nice.
yeah. So one day it came into my mind that I would like to jump out of an airplane. So that's when I did a tandem jump.
Okay.
And after that, I started to skydive by my own. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So you got really involved in a skydiving community.
Yeah. Yeah. And I spent every minute I had on the drop zone and with skydiving friends and travel for skydive, and it was all my life. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the accident, Sandra?
Yeah. I was participating in the German nationals together with my team. And after the competition, we just decided to make a fun jump. Did the exit on the plane, and the free fall was everything normal. And when it was time to open the parachute, I pulled, but I had some technical issues, so the main parachute didn't come out. To make it a little bit shorter, I just say I ended up hanging under 2 parachutes, which is not a good thing. So the riser strangled me and I lost consciousness. And so I crashed on the taxiway on the airport and broke a lot of bones and suffered a spinal cord injury. Yeah. That was in 2016.
It's devastating. Yeah. So yesterday, and I appreciate you sharing all that for the listeners. And I know that probably is hard to revisit. So, you know, we spoke the other day a little bit about the recovery process and your time, you know, in the hospital and while you were recovering and kind of sort of what that experience was like and how all of that turned into, you know, revisiting adventure and getting back to adventure. So I wonder if you could talk with us a little bit about that recovery process for you.
Yeah. So I was in the hospital and rehabilitation center for 7 months in total. And after that, it was hard, but when I came home, it was much harder. To be honest, to be at home and everything is like it ever was, but you are not like you was really hard. Everything, everybody had his own life, and for everybody it was like before. But for me, I was at home and I needed help for this and for this, and I was not the same person than I was before. I had very dark days, and I didn't know the reason why I should wake up or stay up in the morning. Yeah, that was really hard. And it was like this for about, almost 2 years. Then my boyfriend left me, which was really hard too. But on the other hand, after that, I wanted to prove everybody, and also I wanted to prove myself that I can do it. I can do a lot more than everybody thinks I can do. Yeah, including me.
There you go, including you. I was going to ask if you could maybe elaborate on that a little bit more. Like, what was that? You had that motivation, you said to prove to others, but then you just followed it up with proving to yourself.
Yeah. I wanted to find a way to live again, to start living again, to have a I don't know, to have a idea what I can do, and I don't find the right words now.
No, it's beautiful. I mean, and we talked about this the other day. I mean, you just repeated what you said. It was like you felt like you needed to live again.
Yeah.
And so how did you get there?
Well, during this time, I never broke up with my skydiving friends, and I was still involved in a lot of skydiving things around my drop zones. So anybody came up with the idea that I could now make a license to be a judge in the skydiving scene. And yeah, there was a course right at my drop zone, so I could not deny to do it. Yeah, and so I did, and yeah, it was the reason why I started to think about traveling again. But I wanted to travel and to be able to have my own privacy. I don't want it to stay in a hotel, which is far away from a drop zone, and I cannot join the people on the drop zone. And yeah, that's why I came up with the idea of an RV, which would allow me to travel and to be independent.
Yeah. So the whole idea of the bus, the RV, was so that you could come back to the drop zone and be with your skydiving family, be with your skydiving community. Yeah. And I just, if we can spend a second, I'm really curious, like that's really courageous. Like to go from, I want to live again, I want to feel adventure again, to immediately going back to your skydiving community. Like that took a lot of courage. What was that like for you?
Well, I never broke up with the skydiving family, I would say, because it's a family for me. If I would have said that I don't go there anymore, I don't want to meet people, which I spent so many time before, I wouldn't know who I am anymore. So because it was so much, it was my passion and it was my whole life. So who I am if I cannot join this anymore.
Yeah. So you felt such a deep connection to that sport and to those people.
Yeah.
And you made of it what you could. So you became a judge.
Yeah, I'm a judge now. So I judged for the German nationals, and yeah, maybe in the next year or two, I don't know, international competitions. I hope so. The World Championship or something like this would be awesome to judge.
Wow. So, and then this is how the bus sort of evolved. So how did you go from this bus and using it to be self-sustained and to have your privacy out on the drop zone to this trip that we met on?
Yeah, well, first of all, I bought the bus in 2019, and we had the plan to make the first big trip in 2020 in the States. But yeah, first of all, we had to convert it. It took us 1 year to convert it, and then everything was planned. The flights were booked, everything, and then COVID hit.
Yeah,
we had to postpone everything, and then we started to travel in Germany, and yeah, we went to job zones and to friends and met new friends, and yeah, tested it for the idea to do this really big trip to the States, because it was such a dream, and yeah. Then we had the chance to do it now.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And so I'm thinking about like this whole progression from before the accident to after the accident. And I'm curious if like your idea around what adventure means has changed. Like what did adventure mean to you before the accident?
Well, actually, it didn't change. um, Adventure was always the way of freedom for me. Yeah, maybe I cannot skydive anymore, but I can do a lot of other things, and I
Yeah.
try everything to do, and I'm I'm always open to try new things, and I don't know. I had to make a truck driver's license to drive this bus. This was an adventure too. So in Germany, you have to have a license to drive this. I know in the States you don't have to have this, but
That's amazing. How was that? What was that experience like for you?
yeah, that was weird because I went um, to the school to make the license, and there were only men, only men, only truckers, and I
Yeah.
came in, and I'm a girl, I'm a girl in a wheelchair, and they looked at me, and I don't know what they had in mind. What is she looking for? Maybe she's wrong. Yeah, but yeah, it was nice, and then it was really difficult to find a place where I can drive a truck with hand controls. In Germany, there's only one, as far as I know, only
Okay.
one truck. Then you can drive, which you can drive with a hand control. So I had to drive, yeah, 3 or 4 hours away from me to go there and yeah, make my
Yeah.
license.
Yeah, those guys had no idea when you walked in. Yeah, you're a
No,
girl in a wheelchair and you drive a converted
yeah,
school bus. Yeah, and you are an adventurer like no other with an incredible spirit.
yeah,
Yeah, so I love that you said that you really the way that you look at adventure hasn't changed.
no, no, because it's all about freedom. For me, it's all about freedom, to find my freedom, to do what I want to do.
So I wanna just kind of dive a little bit deeper on that. So the adventure it hasn't changed, but the fact that freedom is sort of the underlying premise. Like, let me ask you that. Like, what does freedom mean to you?
To be independent, very important for me. To be spontaneous, um, to explore,
Mhm.
the nature. That's really freedom.
Yeah. It's so beautiful, and you are such an incredible inspiration. I'm curious, like as you went on this whole like life journey, like all the way from the pre-accident through the accident, the recovery period, and now this 6 month epic trip. Like, what are some of your major lessons that you've learned in this whole life's journey that you would want to pass on to listeners?
Don't overthink it. Um,
By the
if
way,
you want to do,
I'm guilty of that, overthinking
yeah, me too.
it.
Me too. If you want to do it, if you really want to do it, you will find a way to do it. That's that I would say. Sometimes you say, yeah, I would love to do it, but this and this is the reason why I can't do it now. But is it really a reason? Is it, you have to think about, and if you really want it, just do it.
Just do it. That's like Nike
Yeah.
says, right?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Don't wait too long. Yeah, don't wait too long, because there comes a point where you maybe will not be capable to do it anymore.
Yeah. Although I'm sitting here having an incredible inspirational conversation with somebody that doesn't let things get in her way.
Thank you.
And that's pretty incredible as well. Like to me, that's the learning.
Thank you.
Yeah, really cool. So, Sandra, at some point, Hollywood's going to learn about you. and they're going to want to make a movie about your life and this whole experience because it's incredible. And I want to know, when they do, who's going to be the Hollywood actress that's going to play you in your movie?
That's a funny question, and I thought about it. And the first actor came into my mind was Sandra Bullock.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know.
Hey, she's got the same name. You guys both have dark hair. Like, it works.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock. I definitely would watch that movie. What's the movie going to be called?
Between Heaven and Earth, I would say.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because sometimes my head is still in the clouds, even if I'm not skydiving there. But yeah, I guess this would be a nice name.
Between Heaven and Earth. Oh my gosh, that's so great. I love that. I'm going to have to stew on that one for a bit. Skydiving and finding yourself in the clouds. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It was absolutely such a pleasure to have you here today. I really, really appreciate it. I'm so glad that we had that opportunity to meet in a parking lot in the Sierras in California. So thank you so much for being here today. And for those listening, I hope you've been inspired today as much as I have. I hope that Sandra's story has encouraged you to listen to the voice inside that calls you to adventure, because we want to hear your story next. If you have a story to tell or you need a nudge to create one, please send me an email. We'd also appreciate it if you'd help us spread the word by leaving a review and sharing or tagging Inspire Campfire in your social media. And until next time, I want to encourage you to get outside. Thank you for listening. Sandra, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.